Hola, bienvenidos a otra lección. Esta es lección 0.6. Es un repaso del español 1 para mis estudiantes, mis alumnos del español 2. We're just doing a quick review. I say this in every episode. This is just a quick review, just to refresh your minds of how things are working in Spanish as we get ready for Spanish 2. Okay. ¿A dónde? Now, I'm sure you guys recognize this. I know you know this word. ¿Dónde? ¿Dónde is where? ¿Dónde está el baño? Where's the bathroom? But ¿a dónde? Well, a, even by itself, the preposition to where. So I might say, ¿dónde está mi libro? Where is my book? ¿Dónde están mis llaves? Where are my keys? But I would never say ¿a dónde? To where? To where is my book? No. ¿A dónde vas? To where are you going? ¿A dónde vas después de las clases? ¿A dónde vas este fin de semana? Those are good questions for me to ask you in class. ¿A dónde vas los sábados? ¿A dónde vas los domingos por la noche? ¿A dónde vas los viernes por la noche? I'm going to start sounding like your parents pretty soon here, asking the who, what, when, where, why. That's good. Okay, so ¿dónde, where, a dónde, to where. What are some other question words? Try to think of some real quick. What does quién mean? Who? Now, if it's plural, if you're asking, like, there are a bunch of people, who were they? Or who are they? ¿Quiénes son? ¿Quiénes son los muchachos? Ah, son mis amigos. ¿Quiénes? When it's plural. By the way, notice when we have an accent, the question word, when we have a question, when it's a question, the word gets an accent. Okay? So we have ¿dónde? ¿A dónde? ¿Quién? ¿Qué? What? How about ¿cuándo? So I'm getting my accents a little bit off. ¿Cuándo? When? ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? ¿Cuándo vas a la biblioteca? Yo quiero ir. ¿Cuándo vas tú? Let's see. What are some others? ¿Cuándo termina la escuela? Okay, so we had who, what, when, ¿dónde? ¿Por qué? Tenemos ¿por qué? Remember, two words when it's a question. Accent over the E when it's a question. ¿Por qué? Because of what? For what? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué estudias? ¿Por qué vas al cine? ¿Por qué vas a la piscina? ¿Por qué? And often in your response, it'll be a one-word answer, no accent. ¿Por qué vas al gimnasio? Bueno, porque yo quiero hacer ejercicio. Okay? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué estudias? Porque quiero ser más inteligente. Okay, who, what, when, where, and why. We got those. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, when we talked about the ¿dónde, there was one more that I missed. I apologize. In addition to ¿dónde, where, ¿a dónde, to where, we could also ask ¿de dónde? And let's make it two form. ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres? ¿Eres de, no sé, eres de Nevada? No, yo soy de California, yo soy de San Diego. ¿De dónde eres tú? Pues yo soy de Arizona. ¿De dónde? From where? Of where are you? Okay, let's see, what else did I want to review with you guys? Oh boy, I got a lot, and I'm trying to make this lesson as quick as I can, but we're trying to cover just about everything from these chapters. Another one, stem-changing verbs. Let's try the verb jugar. Okay, you might recall a couple lessons ago as we discussed conjugating verbs. We talked about how when you conjugate a verb, you drop the ending. It's going to annoy somebody if I don't get rid of that piece. You drop the ending, so there's nothing there. What's left, this piece here, is called the stem of the verb. Okay? When you get rid of that ending, we're left with a stem. And a stem-changing verb is, just like the name indicates, a verb whose stem changes. Well, what does that mean? Well, when you learn a verb for the first time, out of a book, anyway, you'll usually see something like this, a U to UE. Sometimes they use an arrow in between the two to show you that it changes, that it's a stem-changing verb. What that means is when you conjugate this verb, that stem changes. This was an AR verb, so of course our endings are O, as, a, amos, an. Now I know there are some teachers out there that are cringing at the grammatical approach going on here, but you know, this is a video for grammar. I do other things in the classroom, so we'll just stick with this. Okay, stem changes. So let's see what happens. We take the U, change it to a UE. If you want to say I play, yo juego. See that? The stem changed. You play, tú juegas. He, she, or usted plays, él juega, ella juega, usted juega, juega deportes, él juega deportes, es muy fuerte, muy grande. Juega, actually in my mind I guess I was thinking of sports that require size. I apologize to all you runners out there and other sports where size is an issue. We play, jugamos. Somebody right now might be saying, oh, you didn't change that one. No, I didn't. And if I were doing vosotros, I wouldn't change that one either. But if I come down here, I will get back to changing this one. Juegan. Well, how come I didn't do that? Well, stem changing verbs don't stem change in these other forms. They only change in these, not in these two. Not in the vosotros or the nosotros. For that reason, some teachers, to make it, I don't know, cutesy or easier to remember, or just a little trick, have decided to call these boot verbs. Boot verbs. Because it's only the ones that are inside the shape of a boot that do the conjugating. The ones that are outside the boot, that do the stem changing. The ones outside the boot don't stem change. So you might hear people call them boot verbs. Boot verbs, stem changing verbs, it's the same thing. I prefer to call it a stem changing verb. Not because I don't think that's cute, but just because it's a stem changing verb. It's more descriptive. Okay, those are stem changing verbs. We do have others. We have TENER. I won't get into TENER today because it's irregular and stem changing. We've got a whole bunch of them. Poder, to be able to, like poder, power. Yo puedo, I can. Tú puedes, él puede. That's an O to UE stem changer. We'll talk more about stem changers at another time, possibly. But for now, just wanted to remind you of those. I did want to mention one thing about TENER. We didn't talk about this last time I mentioned it, but TENER gets used with other words all the time. For example, tener que, to have to. It's just like in English when you say, I have to leave, I have to go, I have to eat, I have to sleep. Instead of saying have to, like we do in English, we say tener que, I have that, or I have what, I have that. So if you want to say, I have to, tengo que, I have to, and then you'll use an infinitive verb. Okay? Infinitive, once again, means it's not conjugated. It still has its AR, ER, or IR ending. So tengo que salir. Tengo que salir, I have to leave. Tengo que ir, I have to go. Tengo que hablar, I have to speak. Tengo que usar el baño. Tengo que estudiar. Tengo que hacer ejercicio. Okay, so we've got all these tener ques. Okay, I'm going to pause and answer my phone. Gracias por tu paciencia. I thought I should have said, tengo que contestar mi teléfono. Okay. Tengo que salir, ir, hablar. Tengo que contestar el teléfono. Tengo que preparar comida. Tengo que ir al cine. All of those things, tengo ques. Now, actually, having to answer the phone is a good opportunity for me to throw in another word we had this chapter, or or another phrase I should say. Lo siento. Well, you can see by the O ending that this is a yo form, and it has an IE. This comes from the verb sentir, to feel. You might recognize that from like your senses, or I sense, sentiment. Okay, to feel. When you say I feel, and then this is a direct object pronoun. So literally you're saying, I feel it. You know, I'm sorry, I feel it. So lo siento is a way to say sorry, or I feel it. The last thing to review, and then we're done for today. Oop, almost forgot that. Oh, I missed it. Last thing to review for today is just real quick, talking about time, going back to talking about time. When we talk about time, we say es la, son las, es la una, son las dos, son las tres, son las 4:30, son las 5:15, for example. So we use the son las, es la. And again, little side note, the reason we say es la for 1 o'clock is because it's singular. It is, not they are. Okay? So we talk about that when we're saying what time it is. But if we want to say at a certain time, since in these chapters we're talking about going places and doing things, if you want to talk about at a time, you would say a la una or a las 2:30. So again, what time it is, at what time something happens. ¿A qué hora vas al cine? Pues yo voy al cine a las 7:30. ¿A qué hora vas a la biblioteca? Yo voy a la biblioteca. Actually, that's a different a la. Yo voy a la biblioteca a las 10 de la mañana. A las. When we're talking about time. Son las and es la. When we're talking about it is that time. At time is time. Another fast turbo lesson. I wish I could have gone slow, done more details, more tricks and stuff. But like I've said before, these are just reviews. Gracias por escuchar. Gracias por prestar atención. Espero que estén aprendiendo mucho. Espero que tengan un buen día, una buena noche, whatever the case may be. Adiós. Hasta luego.